Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. So, one of the reasons I really love reading Star Wars novels is because they often go into detail about the world surrounding the main characters. The movies just don't have enough time to go deep into the lore. So while I was reading one of these novels, I was thinking to myself, does the galaxy know that Luke and Leia are the son and daughter of Darth Vader? Unlike the rest of us, the entire galaxy had no idea that Luke and Leia were the children of Darth Vader. At least not for a while. First of all, Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa had relatively different opinions about their father. Luke was the first to find out about his parentage when he arrived on Bespin in The Empire Strikes Back. During his duel with Darth Vader, he is disarmed by the Dark Lord, who then cuts him deeply with the revelation that he is his father. Luke cries out in sheer pain. Cut off from escape, he severed himself from Vader by unhanding his grasp to the platform and detaching from the catwalk. His plan to defeat Vader was dismembered, and his spirit crippled. It had been a close shave, and had he not truncated his encounter with his father, his path to becoming a Jedi would have been cut short. He was excised from his innocence, torn away from his friends. His hope had been dislimned. Okay, I'll stop. His faith amputated. After recovering from the shock of this revelation, Luke would try to redeem his father and return him to the light side. In the end, Darth Vader became Anakin Skywalker once again and saved Luke from the Emperor. Luke would always remember his father fondly as a Jedi who had done something few others had ever been able to do: return from the dark side. Leia's memories of the Dark Lord, however, weren't so great. After being captured aboard the Tantive 4, Darth Vader tortured her continuously for hours as Imperial stormtroopers watched. She had only been 19 at the time. And as if that wasn't bad enough, her father then took her to see Alderaan's destruction, holding her firmly by the shoulders so she couldn't look away. In my opinion, his treatment of Leia was much worse than anything he could have ever done to Luke. Besides, if my son came at me with a laser sword, sure as hell bet I cut his arm off. Hell, I'd cut both his arms off, maybe take a leg too, just to teach him a lesson. Anyway, prosthetics in the Star Wars galaxy are really advanced. And afterwards, I ship him off to military school. Teach that boy some respect. Anyway, it wasn't until Return of the Jedi that Leia found out about who her real father was. Although she trusted Luke and believed that Darth Vader had redeemed himself at the end, she never really forgave her father. She didn't have the same training as Luke, so forgiveness wasn't one of the first things on her mind. And like I said before, what Vader did to her was unforgivable. So who knew about the parentage of Luke and Leia? Most thought he had died along with the rest of the Jedi Order. Only Palpatine, Bail Organa, Obi-Wan, and a select few others knew about the true identity of Darth Vader. Moff Tarkin had served with Anakin during the Clone War and had his suspicions, but there was no way for him to even prove it.
I wish more Jedi had your military sensibilities.
And Leia had only told Han Solo who her father was. She even kept this information hidden from her son Ben, which is a great way to build trust with your son. Luke also respected Leia's decision, and from what we've seen, he also helped keep their parentage a secret. But 28 years after the Battle of Yavin, still very few people actually knew about the connection between Leia and Luke and Vader. At the time, the Republic Senate was bogged down by partisan fighting. There are two major factions, the centrist and the populist. Leia was one of the leaders of the populist and was about to run a campaign to become the first senator, a newly made executive position that hopefully would get the Senate back on track. Being royalty, she recently had inherited the title of Supreme Governor of a small world named Biren. Leia had no interest in claiming the title, however, and passed what she saw as a nuisance to Lady Cara Sindian of Arcanus, a prominent centrist politician. Unknown to Leia, she was also secretly aiding the First Order. Upon receiving her new title as Supreme Governor of Biren, Lady Karis found a wooden keepsake box hidden in the royal vault that belonged to Leia. A few days later, during a Senate session, the centrist played a message that was found inside that package inside of a music box. It was a very personal message from her late father, Bail Organa. Leia was stunned to hear his voice. It brought tears to her eyes, and she was even more shocked at the contents of the message.
My hope is that this recording contains no new information, that I have had the chance to explain everything to you myself. Your father was Anakin Skywalker, one of the last Jedi Knights and a great hero of the Clone War. But now I must tell you the worst, and you must be strong. Your father has become Darth Vader.
The Senate erupted in yelling and accusations. Bail Organa, who had once sacrificed his life for the rebellion, was now being used by the Senate to destroy his own daughter.
You must be listening after my death, so let this be my chance to say once again how much I love you. No other daughter could have ever brought me more joy.
In the aftermath that followed, Leia lost all of her political power. Even members of her own party disavowed her, and her friends kept their distance away from her. The Populist Party withdrew her candidacy for first senator, and she became a pariah on the Senate floor. Most were angry that she had lied, kept the secret hidden from the world, but all were afraid of who she was now, the daughter of the Emperor's most feared enforcer. She was Lady Vader. Worse yet, Leia had yet to tell her own son about his ancestry, and he was still traveling in the unknown with his uncle Luke. Leia would eventually go into self-exile, surrounding herself with her friends from the rebellion. She had lost hope that the Senate was capable enough to defend the Republic from the threats that it faced. She decided it was time to take matters into her own hands. I was really surprised about how the galaxy reacted to this news. It shows how quickly one can turn from a rebellion hero to an outcast. And it also shows how short people's memories are. How quickly it was forgotten that Luke and Leia had lost almost everything, including their families, to fight against the Empire. And it shows just how much the galaxy still feared Darth Vader 2 decades after his death. And even though he had barely any connection with raising Luke and Leia, the centrists were able to play on the fears of the public and distract them from the real issues at hand. How relatable and close to home that is for us today. We might not all be Force sensitive, but I believe we can all learn from the Jedi in one way. Emotions, especially negative emotions, can lead to rash decisions, which can lead to dire consequences. It's only through knowledge and true understanding that we can free ourselves from our more primal inclinations. Wow, it's a lot deeper than we usually go. On a lighter note, last week I asked you guys what you would do in Finn's position during the opening hours of The Force Awakens. Here are your answers. 41 of you said, I need a pilot. 31 said, long live the Resistance. 25 of you said, Finn plus Poe equals foe, whatever that means. 10 of you said Slip was a pussy, which is just mean, guys, come on. And 8 of you don't like change, alright. Well, I hope you enjoyed our episode today. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you know exactly when we upload a new video. And guys, I hope you learned a lesson today. You really should judge a person by their actions and not by their ancestry or something else that's completely out of their control. I'm talking about something that's out of your control. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.